How to transform your physique as a weightlifter in 2026. I'm going to give you the same exact blueprint that I use to do this crazy physique transformation in 2025 while being a full-time weightlifter. While doing this physical transformation, I just lost one single kilo and I went from 145 kilo snatch to 160 kilo snatch and from 167 kilo clean jerk to 182 kilo clean jerk. So now I'm about to give you the full blueprint. So this is me in 2024. I was eating healthy 80% of the time. I've never ate like a bunch of junk food or McDonald's or any of this stuff, maybe like once a month or once every 2 months, but I still look pretty chubby. I was snacking all of the time. I was eating 6 to 7 pieces of fruits every single day, and I had a very messed up sleep schedule. Okay, I was still like sleeping 6 to 8 hours every single night, but I wasn't getting enough deep and REM sleep. So my sleep schedule, sometimes I will go to bed at 9:30, some other times I will go to bed at 2 a.m. I was scrolling on my phone, I was responding to messages for hours and hours at night, and sometimes I will even like watch Netflix and movies and all of this stuff. So my sleep schedule was really messed up. The other 20% of the time I will eat sugar, desserts, and unhealthy foods because I was like 80% of the time, I eat pretty healthy. So it's okay to take a dessert here and there, like once, twice, maybe even 3 times per week. I will go to the restaurants and eat a crepe, eat a tiramisu, all of this stuff. Okay, and I will only lift weights. I was only doing weightlifting. I was only doing snatch, clean jerk, and all of the variations like back squats, front squats, snatch to stops, all of these things. But I was barely doing any accessories, barely doing any cardio, and I didn't have a morning routine. I didn't have a night routine. I wasn't truly taking care of my recovery nor my training system. I was training every single day, 6 times per week. And as I said, not truly taking care of my body. And as I always say, your physique is a result of your daily inputs. So here you can see my daily inputs were very bad. I had, man titties. I didn't have a six pack and I looked very bad. And this is me in 2025. I was eating healthy 95% of the time. And actually, I will say 99% of the time. Right? I wasn't eating any snacks, any desserts. I was not eating any sugar at all. And I was fasting in the morning until 12 to 1 p.m. Okay, and I'm going to give you guys the two biggest hack that you can use to not be hungry during, the whole morning. Okay, I'm going to tell you like the two things that I do so I can fast easily in the morning. And I was doing my accessories. I had mini cardio sessions and I was getting some very good REM sleep thanks to my REM reset protocol that I use for me and every single one of my clients. So before the how, always comes the why. Because let's be honest here, you know what you need to do in order to get a crazy physique, right? For 80% of you, you already know what you need to eat, in order to be healthy. For 20% of you, it might be a lack of information. But for 80% of the population, especially with lifters, you already know what's healthy. You already know what you need to do in order to get in shape. But you know what I didn't have back then? It wasn't the knowledge. I already had it. It was the why. Why will I get jacked? I'm already lifting heavy weights. Why will I get jacked? I'm already eating healthy. Why will I not eat sugar? I'm only doing it twice a week. Right? And I was staying in that middle where my weightlifting was almost not progressing anymore. My physique looked truly like shit. My energy levels, my testosterone levels started to decrease. And that had an impact not only in my weightlifting, but in my whole entire life. Getting work done felt super hard at my job. I was an in-person coach back then, and procrastination became part of my daily routine. Okay, especially in the morning and even at night and even during the day. And I was also stuck at the same weights for over 6 months. I was stuck at 145 kilo snatch. I was stuck at 165 kilo clean jerk, and I kept on getting like small injuries. And I will just train so hard, but I wasn't recovering, and so I was sore all of the time, and I wasn't able to truly progress like before. So what did I do? I found my why. Okay, I looked myself in the mirror and I didn't like what I was saying. But for me, sometimes, like everything that I do is for my family. Everything that I do is for my little sister and for my mother. Me, if I'm chubby, it's gonna bother me a lot, but not bother to the point where I will change my whole entire lifestyle. Right? It was bothering me, but not enough to stop eating sugar. and to truly lock in with every single one of my morning routines, night routines, and all this stuff. So I had to find a bigger why, which was my mother and my little sister. And how did I find this why? It was because my little sister started telling me, hey, you don't have a six pack anymore. And my mother was like, hey, I don't see the motivation and energy I used to see back when you were younger. And that's when I knew I needed to change. They held me accountable indirectly because they weren't mean to me. They didn't tell me that 10 times. They just told me once or twice. And that's when I realized that I wasn't giving the proper example to my little sister. I wasn't giving the proper example to my mother. And for you, it might not be your mother or your little sister. For you, it might be your future kids or your current kids, or it might be your wife or your husband, right? But you need to find that bigger why. So I made a decision. I started doing cardio sessions 3 times per week. I changed my training system. I went from training 6 times per week to 3 times per week. I was doing weightlifting sessions 2 times per week. I was doing accessory sessions, and I was taking 2 rest days where I was doing small cardio sessions, going for walks, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, getting out of my office, getting out of my house. And I started implementing accessories because being honest with you guys, I was always trying to implement accessories, but every single time I will finish my weightlifting session, I was way too tired. I was like with no energy at all to do my accessories. And so I was either not doing them or I was simply not putting enough energy into the accessories. And that's why I wasn't seeing any results. But then once I made that decision of implementing those 3 things into my daily life, I was just getting 50% results. Right? I started seeing results inside of the gym. Like I was more motivated, I was more driven, but my motivation levels outside of the gym were still low. I still had brain fog during the day. I was still tired after training, right? When it's not supposed to be the case. Training is supposed to enhance your lifestyle. It's not supposed to consume your lifestyle. And my physique wasn't truly changing. Right, I had a very, very mid physique still. I wasn't as chubby as before because I was burning more calories, but it wasn't truly changing. I still didn't see the six pack, and I still didn't see the change in my lifestyle. So that's when I decided to go all in, and I realized that my nutrition and my routines were the actual problem. It wasn't the training itself anymore. Right? So you need to see the whole thing as a package, right? Your lifestyle, your training, and your nutrition. At that moment, before going all in, I only had the training, which is the case for most weightlifters. Most weightlifters, they train 4 to 5 times per week. You have the training dialed in, right? Maybe you're not doing your accessories. Maybe you're not doing the mini cardio sessions, which also help you with your recovery. But, the training, you're 75, 80% there. But in your lifestyle, in your morning routines, in your REM reset protocol, and in your sleep routine, you're not truly giving your 100%, neither with your nutrition. And for me, I had very inconsistent sleep schedules, and I was having way too many snacks. Okay, so I decided to go all in and truly implement the 3 to 2 systems because I was like, I'm already making the effort to go to the gym every single day, right? 5 times per week. I'm already putting the effort into doing all of these accessories and the snatch, the clean jerk, and the mobility and the warm up protocol, but I'm not seeing the results, so let me go all in. And that's what I did. In 3 months, I went from 145 kilos to 160 kilo snatch. I completely transformed my physique, as you guys can see here, and I went from $4,000 per month to $17,000 per month and 2 employees at 18 years old. And now you might ask me, what does this have to do? Why does your income matter? And the reason for this is because once you increase your energy levels, once you increase your motivation levels, and once you increase your testosterone levels, if you're a male, your income is also going to go up. Right? So you might see the nutrition and eating healthy and truly investing in a coach as a big investment, right? But the thing is that is going to eventually be reflected on your income, right? Because imagine if you had 10 times more energy, 10 times more motivation, and 10 times more drive. Eventually you will get a promotion. Eventually you will scale your business, right? And that's exactly what happened to me. My confidence levels were 10 times higher, right? I was feeling way more strong, and that's when I started to, truly scale my business and scale my physique and scale my weightlifting. But now, Brian, this is all good and beautiful, but how did you actually do this? Now, I'm going to give you my full entire blueprint right now, so start taking notes. Okay, I'm going to give you the 4 or 5 steps that I use to truly do this with lifting, physique, and lifestyle transformation. Number one, it all starts in the morning. It all starts in the morning. My mentor used to tell me, once you win the morning, you can win the day. Once you win the day, you're going to win the week. Once you win the week, you're going to win the month. And once you win the month, you're going to win the year and the decades and your whole entire life. So everything starts in the morning. So what did I do? Instead of having a huge breakfast with a bunch of eggs and a bunch of cereals, I started truly focusing on my hydration in the morning. Okay, so I started drinking 2 to 3 glasses of water plus sea salt. I started fasting until 12 to 1 p.m. because here's the thing, I realized that I was always hungry. But once I started taking care of my hydration, I wasn't hungry all of the time anymore. I wasn't even hungry until 12 or 1 p.m. And I also started drinking black coffee, right? 1 or 2 cups. And that was truly a hack to remove hunger. I don't drink black coffee until 10:30, 11 a.m. That's when I start getting a little bit hungry. I drink a black coffee and the hunger truly goes away. Okay. And I started using a morning mobility protocol. Okay, because it always used to take me like 30 to 45 minutes to warm up for my training sessions. And once I started doing a bunch of mobility in the morning, like just 10 to 15 minutes, a very specific protocol, a focus on my weaknesses, I was able to just warm up for 15-20 minutes and start lifting. And this is the tracker that I use in my premium dashboard with every single one of my clients and me, obviously. So you can see here morning hydration, 10-minute mobility protocol, 10-minute walk, read 10 pages, and then I have my to-do list for the day. Second step, I started taking care of my nutrition. Now, what does this mean? I used to be so hungry all of the time because I was training so hard. And so what will I do? I will just serve myself a bunch of pasta, a bunch of rice, right? So I reduce my portion of carbs by 50% because carbs is what truly makes you gain weight, right? And instead of snacking, I was just drinking more water and more coffee. I went from drinking 1 cup of coffee to 3 cups of coffee, and I went from drinking a little bit of water every single day to a lot of water, and that truly changed everything for me. The 2 p.m. brain fog that I used to have after eating my huge meal was absolutely gone. I finally felt sharp during my whole entire day of work, and I started only eating 2 times per day. Guys, breakfast is one of the biggest scams of all time. When you wake up, your body doesn't need food. What it needs is hydration and its movement. Those are the two things that your body needs. So with the mobility and the hydration and the black coffee, you're going to feel so sharp during the day and especially during the morning, like it's truly a game changer. Afterwards, I implemented the perfect training system. Okay, I was working 8 to 10 hour days, always taking calls and working with my clients. And so I wasn't able to recover as much as when I was 13, 14 years old. So I implemented the 3-to-2 training system. I went from training 5 to 6 times per week to 3 weightlifting sessions, 2 accessory sessions, and 2 rest days. And that truly changed everything. But it wasn't only about, the structure of my training. It was what I did inside of the training, right? So you can do 3-to-2 right now, but if you're not implementing the right specific variations to solve your weaknesses, it's not going to change much. If you don't implement the right accessories custom to you, it's not truly going to change much, right? If you don't have the mobility protocol and the warm-up protocol, you can do 3-to-2 all you want, but you're not going to see the results you want to see, right? And I started focusing more on my recovery and on my accessories, and that's when everything truly changed for me. And the fourth thing, and in my opinion, this is like top 2 of the most important things I ever did, is I implemented this REM reset protocol. I started to understand sleep on a deeper level, and I understood that it wasn't about the amount of hours that I slept, but it was about the quality sleep, right? So I went from waking up tired to feeling energized in the morning. And I went from sleeping 7 hours per day to sleeping 7 hours per day. I sleep the same amount of time, but it's all about the quality sleep, as I said. So I started getting more deep sleep and REM sleep. And this, guys, these two things, deep sleep and REM sleep, this is where you get the most amount of recovery. That's where your muscles are fully relaxed and you actually allow your body to recover. Most people, they just keep on waking up during the night. They have inconsistent sleep routines, and that's why they always stay here. And that's why you wake up in the morning, you're sore. That's why you wake up in the morning and you're tired. It's not normal that you sleep 7, 8 hours and you wake up more tired than before going to bed. That's not normal, right? And it's because you're not getting here. And it's because you don't have the REM reset protocol, right? This is a life-changing sleep protocol, and I truly had insomnia for over 5 years. So I know how it feels to be tired all day and not be able to sleep at night. But this completely changed everything for me. And now, As you can see here, my weightlifting transformation, I went from filling 167 kilos on a world championship to snatching 170 kilos from blocks, clean jerking 185 kilos. You can see here my physique transformation. I went from looking like someone who never went to the gym to be absolutely shredded and jacked. In my life transformation, I was able to take my mom and my little sister to a trip to Spain. I was able to buy a watch for my father, and I went from, as I told you guys before, from 4K per month to $15,000 weeks at the age of 18 years old, thanks to the 322 method 2.0. And in the 1.0 version, we help over 100 lifters add 10 to 35 kilos to their total in the span of 4 to 6 months. But this 2.0 version is going to help you transform not only your weightlifting, but your whole entire life, like I did. Your energy levels, your testosterone levels if you're a male, your physique, your weightlifting. We're going to transform everything so you can feel more strong, more energized, and more confident. And that truly is going to have an impact in your whole entire life, in your relationships, and in every single thing that you do. So now, if you actually want to transform your physique, your energy levels, your whole entire lifestyle, and your weightlifting to get to the next level, physically, weightlifting wise, financially, and with your lifestyle, click the link in my description and you're going to book a one-on-one qualification call with me. I get over 400 demands every single month, and I only accept 5 to 10 lifters every single 4 weeks, because everything that I do is one-on-one with every single one of my 322 members. Okay guys, so if you have any other questions, you can DM me on Instagram or you can book the one-on-one call. Thank you so much for the support, and let's kill it in 2026. Let's get it.